Cool. All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stay on Your Bike podcast. This week's guest I'm really excited to catch up with and chat to. I've not chatted to him for quite a long time, other than messages on Instagram. He rode for the chain reaction team in the very early days, and I became really good friends with him. An amazing bike rider, amazing racer, and just an all-around super nice dude. So I'd love to introduce Julien Camellini. Welcome, Julien.
Hi guys, so
Great
good
to have
to speak with you, Nigel.
Yeah, and you, mate. And you, I miss you.
Many years, many years now.
It is. Well, first of all, give all the listeners a bit of information on what you're up to now. I see you're recently a dad. You run your bike shop, and you're going pretty fast on the motorbike by the looks of things.
So 2012, I stopped racing downhill professionally, and I had my family had a business bike shop since 1951,
Wow.
and I took over the business and restructured everything. And since then, trying to develop it and make it my little baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, didn't really ride downhill much since then, but stayed obviously on the bicycle, more on the road bike, and I did a bit of enduro as well. But then you know how it is. You need to have a lot of time to race and to stay at a high level. So I managed to stay in good shape. Maybe not at the perfect shape like when I was racing in downhill, but still riding a lot. I even went to Mosin this summer, like in the old days,
Yeah.
and I was super happy to see Steve Pitt there. So it was really good fun. Then I had just a little enduro bicycle, and I was trying to go on the trail with the fast guys now, like Coulon and all these guys. So it was pretty fun. I destroyed the bike, obviously, yeah. But
Cool.
yeah, it was so much fun.
Cool.
But yeah, the since I was a child, I always dreamt to race on the motorbike on road races. And yeah, 2019, a friend made me try on a track day, a 1000 cc, and yeah, obviously I liked it, so I bought one and starting to take it seriously. And I've been racing the last 2 3 years, and in a high level. I mean, we race with some professionals and amateur mixed, but it's really high level in Italy. So yeah, really high level. And I've been doing well because I finished P3 in the Pirelli Cup Championship in 2022 and fifth in 2023.
Wow.
Uh, Last year I got the baby. I mean, this year, sorry, got the baby. So, I mean, I took a little bit of a rest,
Yeah.
but I've been riding in the last few months with my friend Bradley Smith.
Okay.
We're riding a lot together on the road bike and also on the motorbike, and trying to take as much experience out of him, you know.
Awesome. So you,
Yeah, busy.
I mean, you were. I remember back, when you raced for our team, you were always spent a lot of time on your road bike training. You've got the perfect, conditions of roads where you live, and you were always, really good on the bike when it was super fast. I remember. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you're doing well at the motorbike racing, but that's pretty cool to be at that level. After not doing it, all these years.
Yeah, it's the difficulty because if I compare mountain bike racing to road racing, the chance that you have when you do mountain biking is you can do it every day.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can, I mean, maybe not if you live in Beaulieu-sur-Mer like that, because I live 30, 45 minutes from the trails. But if you live in Unilithen, for example, after school, you can go, you can practice. In the weekend, you can go and practice for a relatively good amount of money. Okay, but if you want to do as soon as it's motorsport, the costs become crazy and you cannot ride every day. So what mountain bike, my experience helped me is to get the best out of this 1.5 hour you can get on a bike, on a motorbike per day, and use your brain to visualize and try to improve for the next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mentally it's very difficult,
Yeah.
but that's where the experience from mountain bike helps me, yeah, a lot.
Good. And yeah, I've got a friend who lives down where I used to live, and he started doing a little bit of road biking because his friend, I don't know if you know him, is Josh Owens. He races British superbikes
Yeah, okay.
at a high level. So yeah, my friend has been doing a bit also, and he loves it. But he said, that he thought he was quite fast on the road bike until he, went to a practice day with yeah, it's another level.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so difficult to get to a good level coming from mountain bike because we've got the speed in our head, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you compare going 50, 60 between the trees and going 300 in a straight, honestly, sometimes can be even more scary to go between the trees and the rocks, you know.
Yeah.
So what is more difficult is to understand the tires, how the tire works, the electronics, and all that. Yeah, the traction control, the feel the front tire, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you cannot crash as much as on the mountain bike, you know, Nigel.
Oh no, I know Josh had a really bad accident last year and was, close to dying. Really got lifted off with, all his rib cage smashed to pieces, punctured lungs, and pretty scary stuff.
But the thing you don't really understand how fast you're going because you get quickly some confidence and 150 looks like 50, you know. It's crazy, but when you, I mean, the tracks where I go are GP tracks, not BSB tracks, so we've got big runoff and gravel, so it's not as scary as BSB tracks.
Oh, cool. Good. And yeah, tell us a little bit about your, the bike shop. I came and visited you when, gosh, it must be probably 8 years ago now. And you had the shop was lovely, and you had some really nice bikes in there. As far as I remember, I think you when your granddad owned the shop, and your granddad was a Tour de France stage winner. Am I correct?
Yeah, two Tour de France stage wins. My grandfather was a climber, tiny little guy, you know, 55 kilos. But yeah, back then the cycling was more like gravel racing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for the stages were horrendous, like sometimes 300 kilometers, and the climbing, I don't even know, but it was huge, you know. Yeah, it's the history of the shop is yeah, my grandfather with his road bike career. Then my father was not really into racing, and me, you know, coming from I started racing mountain bike because there was the World Cup in Cap d'Aille back in the days. I don't know if you ever raced there.
No,
But when mountain biking became really popular, especially in France, was this time when there was the Grundig World Cup, 93, 94, 95, and we had the local legend Nico Wios there, who was always winning with big margins, and I mean the local hero.
yes.
And I always dreamt to do that, you know. When I saw Nico, I said, okay, I need to try to do something cool like that. The bikes were really really different from now,
Absolutely.
But still we had fun. Yeah.
And how far did Nico live from where you grew up?
Nico lives where the trails are. So me, I'm on the seaside. He lives in the countryside, and it's about 35 minutes, 40 minutes from where I live. And from his place, he really had he had to go down a ramp, and then the trails were basically starting there. And trails really really good for enduro. I mean, now what we call enduro now for 15 years, but was not did not exist before. But he had really really good trails there. Yeah.
Cool, cool.
And then the downhill of Cap d'Aille, so he's just next to me, but we don't really ride anymore now with the downhill bikes. I mean, it was more like enduro bikes. And pay is about 35 minutes, so not far.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I never raced at Cap Dye, but years ago when I first started racing, I think it was the second year I was racing or the third year, I actually went and rode Cap Dye with a previous sponsor of yours, Chris Porter, when he worked for
Yeah.
NBR magazine, and
Okay.
I went with them and a few other guys from NBR magazine to, do a trip in the south of France and test some different bikes for the magazine, and we actually rode Cap Dye then, and yeah, I was quite surprised at how flat some of the sections were.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's what is shocking, because when with my kids' eyes it was super steep, and when I go there now, it's like, wow, how did we ride there? You know,
yeah,
it was really funny because I remember the '94. I was 10 years old,
yeah.
and I have still the memory of that. I was on my hardtail bike, and I squeezed into the shuttle on the track, and because I knew the organizer, they let me go to do the practice with the pros. You know, yeah.
Well, brilliant,
So I
brilliant.
was the little child, and I went.
Awesome, awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah,
and and so, before we, go on to the mountain bike career, just tell me a little bit more about the shop. And obviously, the area that you live in is huge for road biking. You have a lot of professional road bikers that live in that area.
yeah.
Yes.
So we are in a wealthy place, Côte d'Azur, the between Nice and Monaco. The most beautiful houses are in Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, you know, rich people in Monaco, obviously, uh, but more, like you say, road biking. And then we have, there is about 60 professional road cyclists who live in Monaco. Most of them, the best in the world. Then you have some the Americans who live more around Nice, Villefranche, so like really close to me. Basically, we are halfway between Nice and Monaco, so it's an easy place to stop for them if they need something quick or some assistance. Look, I mean, we have a really good workshop, really good technicians. So for the clients or for the pros, they know that they have confidence in my staff. Yeah.
Nice. And I remember when you rode for us, you were always really interested in road bikes then, and you always had nice road bikes. And at that time, I had no interest in road bikes at all. But recently, after watching the Netflix documentary on the Tour de France, it's got me really interested in it. So the last 2 years, I've watched the tour, and I've got my favorite riders, and uh, really enjoy it. Um, I love watching Tadej Pogacar. I think he's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tadej is coming to the shop quite often,
yeah,
and like you can see him on TV, he's a very very friendly guy, a guy who really calculates everything. I mean, he came to see us before when he was testing the last stage time trial for the Tour de France, already calculating which chain rings, a cassette to put to have the good cadence. He knew exactly all the details, and in the end, he won it with a big margin, But it's this accumulation of details, and then obviously the talent comes first. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I enjoy it. And do you still follow the downhill World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, I really find that now it's really nice to follow on TV. Yeah, I mean, you have more split times. I mean, I like the way they film it.
Yeah.
I find the tracks have changed a lot.
Yeah.
Really, really changed a lot, and it's very fast now. Very, very fast.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked to race on these tracks. To be honest, with a good intense bike would have been fun. The tracks are super fast. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
From stopping racing when you did, obviously the tracks have changed, the bikes have got longer and bigger wheels, and currently the French riders are doing so well again.
Yeah, it's incredible. The generation that France has is incredible. Yeah, yeah. Really, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's impressed, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Bruni's incredibly,
And also, if you think about Loic, it's now quite many years that he's racing, and he's still at this top level, which shows that maybe he still has some margin,
Yeah, yeah. Interestingly, I was talking to Nico in Elithan when there was an EWS round here. It was about maybe 21 or 22, and I was talking to him after the e-bike race, and I was asking him about his career, and he told me that when he was racing World Cups, and World Championships, he won so many things, but he said he never ever had to ride like completely on his limit, because he calculated things that much from practice, and what he thought other riders would do. And
Yeah.
the only time he ever went over his rode at his full maximum was in a race after he retired. He did a race, I think, in the south of France somewhere, and he said he just like gave it absolutely everything. But it could be a similar thing with Loic.
I honestly think yes. I mean, when you see how fast he was in his final run in Andorra this year, to be like 2 seconds up at the split, I think. I mean, it's ridiculous when you see how fast the other guys were.
Yeah.
How you would have thought maybe you would have some information to keep some, but I mean, 2 seconds at this level is massive. It's massive,
especially on that track as well, because
yeah, exactly.
Dry. There's no like.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
difficult sections. It's pretty impressive. And then there's quite a lot of, in my opinion anyway, there's a lot of fast French guys, but there's quite a lot of different styles within the French guys as well. You've got Loic that to me looks super calculated, super strong, obviously.
Yeah, he's not moving much on the bike, Loic. I mean, he even reminds me a bit the Sam Hill of 2008, really in control and handlebar wide and not moving.
Yeah.
Then you have Loris, who is really, really smooth and absorbing every hole. It's beautiful. And then you've got Thibaut, super aggressive.
Yeah, insane aggressive.
Yeah.
And
that's where you understand that this sport is really difficult, because you need to find the right balance between aggressivity and being smooth. And sometimes you've got some sections where you can be aggressive, some where you need to calculate more.
Yeah.
and this is super super difficult.
Yeah. And then I think, you know, a good mix of all of that is Amory.
Yeah. I'm
And
always is fast.
yeah, I mean, I'm a huge, you know, admirer of all of the guys that, you know, that do that at that level. But I'd have to say Amory is like when Amory's on form, he's probably my favorite rider
Yeah.
to be, you know, to be excited
He's
about.
really using all the terrain to get some speed, and he knows how to go fast. And it was in Léger this year that he was flying in
Yeah,
the mud.
the rain.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and also at Val di Sole as well.
yeah.
And so also, Julian, you know, when you rode for us, you were always very knowledgeable about the bike and your setup, and you know,
Yeah.
you and Dave worked closely on your setup and testing, which was, you know, for me was really interesting to see and to watch. Um, who, you know, out of all the bikes that are available at the moment, what do you think there's some bikes that are better than others, or do you think they're all quite similar now?
Honestly, I think there's quite a big difference between the bikes, in
Yeah,
my opinion. Yeah. I mean, in terms of geometry, of course, you've got some differences. I don't know now exactly what some teams have and some others have, but I'm sure there's a lot to do with the rear suspension, depending on how rough it is, that you can maybe change some maps between the sectors. I mean, in motorbike, we can adjust that while riding. So I'm pretty sure that in downhill, some teams must have some kind of thing like that. That you arrive, I don't know, in Leogang in the middle section, you
yeah,
make an adjustment there. It can be one or 2 seconds at the end of the motorway.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've seen, you know, obviously we've seen, you know, Loic pressing the buttons on his handlebars. I think one of
Yeah,
the
exactly. So I don't know exactly what he has, but there's something there, I think, and related to that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember. I think it was Lusa World Cup. When they had a big sprint section, he hit the button coming into that section, and obviously he can pedal anyway.
But
But
could it be something with the linkage or something with just the rear shock? It's what I'm wondering. Maybe if you could do something even with the linkage, would be even better.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And
And also, I think you see the way the frames are welded, etc. All that, the flexibility makes something stiff.
yeah,
There's a lot to. I mean, that's where I think it's all these bikes are prototypes because they can do whatever they want. And
yeah.
this is beautiful. This is really beautiful.
And you know, if you were, you know, back 15 years ago now, and you decided you were going to race downhill, what would be the bikes that you think you would choose out of the ones that are available now?
With my experience now, seeing how Jeff Stieber is working, I would get an intense. Honestly, I always dreamt about intense since my childhood,
Yeah,
and I know how Jeff is working,
yeah,
and I think I would get an intense.
yeah.
Then, honestly, there is another bike that I would have loved to try once. It would be a Foz with
Okay.
the Kernot suspensions. I must be precise.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I nearly was involved in bringing that bike back now, you know, in the current times, but unfortunately, it looks like that project has kind of gone away at the moment. But
Yeah.
I was hoping to see that, you know, a modern Foes bike in today's
Uh,
time,
th-
how it would
this
be.
bike with the Kernot suspension was good.
It
Was
was,
good
it was, yes,
because I think I tried once from my ex-teammate Julien Camellini. He
yes,
was world champion in junior in 2000, and 1 year he went to live in California.
Yeah.
with Brent Foes, and he came to ride with me at the local track in Italy, in San Romolo, where we've been. And the bike had some kind of intelligent suspension, you know, was really good, really good.
Yeah.
Then geometry was completely different from now, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
No, but an intense is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. I know you've always been a fan of Intense, and that's cool to hear. Okay, well, let's take it back to, you said you know wanted to race at Cap Dye, and let's take it back to the early days of how you got into racing, how you started, and then progressing through the ranks of youth and junior, and then into elite.
So yeah, I mean, when I was 10 years old, 9, 10 years old, I really started to ride mountain bikes. We had this little challenge for the kids where we not only do in France, it's like that. I mean, we do not only cross country, but we do also cross country, downhill trials, and sometimes we have some orientation. So we have a map and we need to go to some points.
Yeah.
So from 10 to 14 years old, you do this kind of competitions.
Yeah.
Some weekends you have only the cross country, some you have a specific downhill, but at the end of the year, the best of all regions, we meet in one place in France in the mountain, end of the summer, and we do this competition. In '94, I won the overall in my category.
Awesome.
I was second at the cross country and first in downhill, and I won the overall. Then I won this with my teammates every year, basically. 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. And then 99, I could start racing with the pros, I mean, the downhill. I could specify into downhill. So 99, I was good friend, with Karim Amour, all the guys from my area, Stefan Gianni, and my father was GT bicycles dealer.
Yes.
So the dealer in the GT France proposed me to join the team, so I could do all the French Cups with the GT France.
Okay.
And I did I won the French Cup overall and the French national champs.
Yeah.
And back in the days, I could already do the European Championship. Normally now you need to be 17, but it was a long time ago. You could still do so. I received a phone call from Emmanuel Hubert, and my mom drove me to Spain in the night, and I did the race. I remember I had a GT Lobo with a Monster T fork. You remember this Monster T?
That was an awesome.
Yeah, jumping, and the bike was doing like that all the time.
Yeah, it was really heavy fork. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in 99, did you say?
So that was 99. Then 2000, it was my second year. In France, we call that cadet. I don't know how you call that in UK, but in 2000, I really managed to progress a lot. I understood that it was important to do some BMX.
Okay.
So I spent a whole winter going to the BMX track twice a week, and it really helped me to. Because I was never afraid of speed, but you need to feel, the terrain, and BMX really helped me for that.
Is that the track that's close to where you live now?
It's not so. I mean, it's 45 minutes, so it's not so close. But obviously, you need to have your parents motivated to bring you there. Yeah. But good track to train there.
Yeah, I think I went to that track when we came to visit you. I think Karim was working there, like helping the kids, and I think it was that.
I mean, and I really think this really helped me a lot, because when I went back on the mountain bike, then I had the GT DHI one.
Yeah.
And obviously, but in between 15 and 16, I took maybe 15 centimeters. I was a child, and then I went to a teenager really quickly.
Yeah.
And boxer forks, so more adapted bike.
Yeah.
And so now I need to remember, it's a long time ago, but I won in junior already the class.
Yeah.
I was second overall in the final in Oslo, and I was second at the European champ already that year in junior, being a juvenile. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
If I remember rightly, didn't you do quite a bit of racing against Jamie Tompkins?
Yeah. Jamie. So I remember really well. He was beautiful to watch. The most beautiful style. I mean, he's really, I must say, because when I was racing in before that, I didn't really have a high competition with the French riders. But Jamie arrived and he showed me, fuck, I have some big competition there. He was really, really talented, really smooth. And I loved watching him. And he pushed me to go faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, as far as I remember, his dad bought a place in Annecy, so he did a lot of the French.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was living there, and he was always in the mountains. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, shame he quit early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's always the difficulty in the sport. Some people manage to continue, and some not. Some not. Yeah. I have many friends who were so talented, and they didn't do. Yeah.
All like this. Yeah, and then so from there, what riding for GT France, where did your love for intense bicycles come from then?
When we didn't have internet, we had the magazines, and the magazines was Nicolas Vouilloz on one side and Sean Palmer.
Yeah.
And Sean Palmer, the cool American, Fox Racing, the tattoos, and also the frame, was the design. It's something completely different from the Sun back in the days.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Cool.
that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so, when moving into the junior categories, who was, who were your main competitors at that time?
So when I went to junior category, so my hero Nico Vouilloz proposed me to go in the team. So I knew I was gonna have a really, really good material. Also quite a lot of pressure, because when you race with him, he puts everything so high that you need to push hard.
Yeah.
Was also challenging because this first year we had Tioga tires, and we didn't know what to expect. And coming from Michelin tires, back in the days it was Michelin. Sometimes easy, sometimes not. But I remember the first season for the testing in Pay, we were having punctures every run. So we were always trying to find new solutions to make it work. Yeah.
I remember I actually went to a Tioga test camp in Pay in '99, so just before you would have rode the Tioga tires, and I remember Dave Wooten, he came out, and they only had the one tread pattern back then with the the quite simple square knobbies, and I think we had the tires in like 3 different compounds because back then the normal Tioga compound, it was okay if it was dry and dusty, but if it was slippy wet roots and rocks, they were so scary.
We ended up finding one solution. I remember was cutting a spike depending on the level of grip, cutting lower or higher. And actually in Pay was working well.
Yeah,
but
As far as I
Not
remember, I think when Nico won the World Championships on the Tioga, I can't remember, but definitely when Fabian won
Fabien won with the Tioga. I remember it was on cut spike in Léger.
Leger. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
When Steve had the sunny slick.
yeah. Two completely different setups on tires, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, how was a lot of people want to know how was that the V Process bike that you?
Yeah, so we had so there was a generation before, which was, in my opinion, maybe a bit better, but we had a more simple bike,
Yeah,
but with the Boss suspensions. I mean, the top of the top,
yeah,
and this really, I think, taught me how you can adjust with just some tiny clicks the suspensions and transcribe the feeling on the track. Back in the days, sometimes when you had some rock shocks, you could turn fully and it would make no difference. With these suspensions, just one click makes a difference. So that really helped me all along my career. Like you say, when I was in CRC, I was always paying attention on adjusting my bike, and I think being by Nico's side, it really helped me a lot.
yeah. And what was the reason for the more simple bike? Was that just kind of because it was easier to manufacture and
Yeah, the idea behind the process was to sell bikes,
yeah, yeah,
and obviously you need to make something a bit more simple for the
customers?
customers. Yeah.
But the V process had the high pivot and the idler, and now that's everybody's doing that now.
Yeah, true. Huh? You see how it came back. It's yeah,
Yeah, for
means
sure.
means he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. And in the junior, so sorry, before I ask this question, do you think if you'd have had the V process set up with Nico and the Boss suspension and you were able to use like Michelin tires at the time, do you think that would have been pretty much the best setup at that time?
At that time, yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course. If you manage to adjust it the best way, yes, yes.
Okay.
The Michelin at this time were the best. Then a few years after the Maxis arrived, maybe one or 2 years after Maxis arrived, strong with their Maxis teams. Yeah, but back in the days was more Michelin.
Yeah.
Then when I was junior, young Sam Hill arrived,
Yeah.
and he really showed a lot of control of his bike. He was riding very smooth, never seemed to push hard, but the stopwatch was always good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, pretty tough person to have in your junior category, for world championship titles and stuff.
So yeah, but when in my first year junior, I, in my opinion, achieved some of my best performances. I don't know if it's because I was young, and but to have the pressure of the team was kind of pushing me forward and not holding me back. If I remember well, I did. I was seventh in my first year of junior in Lesin, the World Cup in Lesin, and I crashed, and I had a crash where I had to climb back up,
Uh-huh.
and I was really close from the podium,
Yeah.
and this is one of my best performance. And it was on the wet for someone who lives by the sea like me. It was pretty incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I remember also one of my, it's good and bad, but I was second at the World Championship in Vale, 2001, and I broke my hand into a tree in the final run. So yeah, I made a little mistake, and these strong American trees, I broke my hand, and I lost for 1 second the World Championship title.
That was
And Sam was already here. Third.
was that Ben Curry that won that race?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ben Curry and me second, and Sam third. Yeah.
Yeah, and then because Sam was that year, Sam was like racing junior before he was actually
Exactly, like I was doing the before, and already P3. You see, me in my when in 2000, so I was 16 and I was fourth at the World Championship
brilliant. That's
already. Yeah,
I mean it's happening again now, isn't it? With Ace of Amet coming through at the moment, and obviously Jackson Goldstone, them two guys, and Jordan Williams and the French rider on Common Sal. But I saw Asa when he was still in the youth category, so the same age as when you were raced the first junior world championships. I think it was the US Open last year. He was second on the podium. He beat Jackson Goldstone. He beat Greg Minar. He beat everybody other than Dakota North.
I'm not surprised. I mean, this new generation, they have some I would say more opportunities than us what we had back in the days. You can go and take the chairlift all summer, and your progress goes like that. That's why younger and younger. Yeah, sometimes I have some videos on YouTube of some kids 8 years old. And I'm like, wow, how is it possible?
Say, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a beautiful sport. If I can give an advice, I mean, I went to Morzine this summer and I saw how many people, how many kids, how many women on a bike, and I think it's a very very cool sport for a kid.
yes,
And now I just have a 6 month child. I don't know if he's gonna like cycling. I guess we with what we have around, I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
But it's a fun sport
it is. It is.
where you can share a lot with your friends,
Yeah,
and still have a beer after the training,
yeah.
not like in other sports sometimes.
No.
Yeah,
And it's so good, you travel to all these places and then you end up with lifelong friends like yourself and people all over the world. It's great,
you
isn't it?
keep, you keep the memories forever.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then cool. So then obviously from the junior categories, then you move into the elite category. But when you were racing World Cups as a junior, there wasn't a separate category back then. So you were in
No, yeah, we were with the Wolves.
absolutely. And so what after Nico's team, what happened then and where did you go after
So
that?
after Nico's team, the 2003 was a difficult time for mountain biking, actually,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you remember, but a lot of teams were closing. I didn't have a lot of opportunities when the team stopped. I had to find something else, and I had some good feeling on the GT bicycle, so I went back naturally to the GT, which was still the same from 2000. So I knew more or less what I was expecting. There was no big changes, but the bike was good.
Yeah.
And in 2003 was a difficult year for me. I was crashing a lot, but still I managed to end up the season quite well with world champion, European title.
Yeah.
It was a French podium. So, but I had one of my best races. It was in Graz, in
Yeah.
Austria,
Yeah.
and a very technical track, long tracks.
Yeah.
Tracks were very long at that time,
Yeah.
and gave me some boost for the end of the season. And I was ninth in the World Championship in Lugano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
when Greg won.
Yes.
Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah. 2004, I went with another French team, which was Q Bikes.
Yeah.
So there was a difficult year. I mean, I was riding very well. considering the material, which was very, very basic.
Yeah.
But I managed to get the best out of it.
Did Michael Pascal ride for Q Bikes?
Yes, in from 2005 he raced I think 2 or 3 seasons with Q bikes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the thing is, from a half season, we broke the frame, and we had to change manufacturer. So we took a Taillefer bike, this French Taillefer bike, and I had to readapt.
Yeah.
And I was the seventh at the World Champs in France in Léger. Yeah,
Amazing result.
a few top tens in World Cup, and I won the French Cup also this year overall. But yeah, and then 2005 I went with Commensal.
Okay. And was that
Commensal was very, very difficult year for me. First of all, because end of 2004 I tried the bike, and the bike had basically the Manitou suspensions, but fully internal by a Boss suspensions. So the bike had when I tried the bike in San Romolo, it was Anne Caroline Chausson bike.
Yeah.
The bike had a lot of hydraulic, was carrying a lot of speed. And when I signed, we went with Fox suspension, which was the first year of the suspensions. We had felt like everything was on the springs, and the bike was feeling slow. I didn't really have confidence with the bike, but I did a few good races, especially one in Schladming. I snapped the chain at the start and did all the run without pedaling, and I was fifth in Schladming. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's one of quite a few people that have done amazing results when they've snapped the chain. Obviously, the famous Aaron Gwyn run it.
Yeah. Aaron Gwyn was impressive because when Leogang, the middle part, this was crazy. But in Schladming at that time, there was also like one bridge where there was no speed at all in the top part.
Yeah.
For not for long, but yeah, you were losing time without the chain. But then you have to think about every inch of the track. We had to get speed. It's physical.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you, because you definitely thought and put a lot more effort into your preparation than I ever did when I raced downhill. However, I remember snapping a chain or my chain coming off at a World Cup, and as soon as that happened, I remember my brain completely changing focus. I knew that I had no chain, so instantly I hit every corner harder, carried speed better. I didn't brake where I didn't have to brake, whereas I may have just touched the brakes, and like the senses sort of heightened once I knew I had no chain. Do you think that is a big part of how people are able to do well without the chain? I know a lot of people say the bike works better without the chain, but for me, it was more.
No, I think it's more mental, like you say, Nigel. I mean, that if you don't do well, if you don't carry speed, you're fucked. So you need to make sure that you open this corner well and carry as much speed as possible. You try to tuck everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I remember the French national coach was super surprised with this performance. And for many years, when we were in French national team camp, training camp, he was always telling the juniors, okay, you know that it's possible to do such a performance. Yeah. Then also we were in the French national training camp. We were removing the chain, taking the chain off, and trying to do this kind of thing. So I really think that it's super important to train like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and so you rode the Taillefer bike that year, and then what was after that?
After that, I went with Commensal for this for that year. Yeah, exactly, 2005. And 2006, I went on a Santa Cruz. I was riding on a Santa Cruz with Boss suspensions.
Okay.
So I was yeah, I was. It was more. I wanted to be more with my. I was more with my family, helping me around. Did a few top tens as well in World Cup with the Santa Cruz. I love that bike actually. Sometimes it was difficult with the Santa Cruz when it was very slippery. I was lacking a bit of grip with the Boss suspensions. I found that with so much hydraulic, sometimes the bike doesn't pardon that much.
Okay.
But then I was
Is that basically
2006.
like when you need that?
Yeah, exactly. And you just slide all the time. You know, you cannot brake. You have no control. That was when the track was bone dry.
Fast.
Was the bike was flying, and
Okay.
then when you needed a bit of control of grip was difficult. I remember in Val di Sole I was shitting myself.
Okay. And why was that not achievable with the Boss suspension, at the time? Why could they not have the smooth?
So first of all, because when you like that as a privateer, there was not a boss workshop coming with you to assist, so you just had to do with a few clicks and try to solve it like that. Yeah, that's mainly that. I'm sure now with they come with the van and they can do anything.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then 2007, I moved for university. Yeah,
yeah,
in Wolverhampton,
yeah, that's a
and uh,
big
and
change.
there I discovered really a new way of training, a new culture, pushing the bike up the up the hill and go down.
And a
So
completely different part of the world than where you're from.
yeah, I mean, it's the best experience in my life, Nigel. Honestly, I was living in 9 square meters with the bikes and the bikes and everything under the bed.
Yeah,
My bedroom was a complete mess,
yeah,
and I had time to train a lot.
okay,
I went to visit Chris Porter, and he said, "Do you want to try a bike? Let's try, let's try." And it was the orange. Of course, Chris had some tricky settings. You know how Chris is. You know.
yeah,
And but the bike felt really good. It was the Fox suspensions prepared by Chris. It's a bike you feel super confident immediately on this bike. Super easy. I finished. I remember P3 in Maribor
yeah,
already. Yeah,
yeah,
Maribor good. I mean, was always a dream track, you know. And went there end of the season. It was after the World Championship in Fort William,
yes,
where I was also seventh.
yeah,
So moving to Wolverhampton, I did a lot of different things. I was going to Camcarn. I was doing some trails also, which was new for me.
yeah.
And I was spending a lot of time on different bicycles,
Having fun.
and yeah, having fun and different tracks in Olethen. I mean, super narrow, and sometimes I remember Riola as well,
Yeah,
and did some Dragon series,
yeah,
etc. And I had one of the best season of my career, and it really opened my eyes for sport and also business.
okay,
And then I had the opportunity to go with CRC,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that was a big adventure.
Yeah, it was, and looking back on things now, when we first started running the team, it was basically me and Dave just putting it together. I was organizing the sponsors, and Dave was helping organize the vehicles and the what we needed for the races, and working on the bikes, and you know how passionate Dave was, but and really, obviously I'd raced and got myself to races when I was racing, so I knew, knew kind of knew about that. But running a factory race team, with four professional riders on the team, and me and Dave just winging it, it was pretty crazy. And yet, the first race we did in Maribor again, first World Cup, was one of the best results we ever had on the team in
Yeah,
all.
yeah. I mean, I remember very well. Yeah, yeah.
It's insane. I mean, you qualified first and then got second to Sam in the finals. I think Chris was seventh or something like that. And Rory and Matt were in the 20s and the 30s. I mean, if you think now a new team coming in and coming second, seventh, 20 summit and 30th, you'd be blown away, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 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 of course. I remember well that year because I managed to really prepare really well.
Yeah,
Especially Dave came to visit me. We set it up the bike. I remember receiving the bike a week after I was racing in Saint Maxime.
yeah,
So Saint Maxime is 1.5 hours away, but the track is not a track for intense bikes.
okay,
The intense, like steep, fast, and there you had a lot of pedaling. Was quite flat,
yeah,
and I managed to win and beat Fabien Barrel. This I was shocked. I mean, I was super happy because I knew how hard I prepared,
yeah,
and to beat Fabien on any track, you know how it is. It's really difficult.
yeah,
So I knew that with some work we could do really well. And then Maribor was the first race of the year, and from this time March, I carried on. I continued to prepare super well, and arrived in Maribor. The mental super ready. I was fit, strong,
yeah,
with the confidence of the previous year where I was third.
yeah,
So I knew the track. If there was no big changes, I could do really well. And it was one of these weekends when you, from the first corners on the track, you know that it's dialed and everything is ready. Just adjust the bike with Dave. You know how the bike is perfect for the final run and for the quali. So I had a huge confidence, and yeah, it's for me, it's the most beautiful run of all my career there.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, because you build that for a month.
Yeah.
For me, was when I signed for the team. This race was my the first one where I wanted to do well because I knew the track was good for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember, thinking confidently that you would do well because you'd done well there the previous year, and I knew how much work you'd put in. I knew you liked the bike, and yeah, it was such a cool day for me. I was super proud that you did so well for the team and everything. It was amazing.
The track was really spectacular, fast, some big berms, a bit more like how the tracks are now. I think
Yeah,
if you look, it's really fast. The rock garden was like the rock gardens I trained for all my childhood. So I was feeling confident in this kind of terrain, and yeah, beating Steve and Greg by 2 seconds on that day.
yeah,
It, I mean, it's a proof that I was riding fast. Then Sam was on another level on the final run. I mean, I
yeah,
win the semifinal by quite a good margin, I think 2 seconds, and he put 3 seconds on me. So there's nothing to say. Sam was just flying, especially the bottom section. I mean, it was really fast.
yeah. But yeah, amazing day for the team and you and everyone else involved, and then remember that the next race I believe was the next race Andorra.
Yeah, Andorra. So obviously you go there with the confidence
Yeah,
of the race before,
yeah,
but you also have a lot of pressure,
yeah,
and you need to find this balance between aggressivity and
yeah.
holding back. And it's always been difficult to find this balance, and I completely fucked up that race. Obviously, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it was really
I
bad.
think I remember. I don't know if it was qualies or the final. You hit a tree and broke your hand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's the year after this one.
Was
The
that
year
the year
after.
after, was it?
Yeah, that year in 2008 in Andorra, I was P3 at the split one, and then I slid on a
Yeah,
route. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was not a good race in Andorra, but the year after was even worse.
Yeah, the one when you broke your hand and we went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. But yeah, that first year, you had the speed at all the races, whether it was split times or top tens.
Yeah.
You know, tell
Yeah,
us.
P10 in the overall that year with some crashes. In Australia, I could not race because I had a massive crash in practice.
Yeah,
So I was 10th overall, and I did twice top 10 overall in the World Cup 2007 and 2008. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, amazing. And at the time we were on the intense bikes. We had the Marzocchi suspension. I believe we had the Cane Creek shock on the rear. Was
yeah. Cane Creek Shock was really good because you could do these small adjustments and it would react to every click. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I remember, you really liked it because you understood suspension, but Rory Cunningham hated it. I don't know if you remember because couldn't figure out how to make the bike feel how he wanted it to be. And
Yeah, I remember. Also, something that I remember and is the talent of Chris Kovarek, and being a teammate with Chris was quite something because him it's the opposite of me.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to, I
he
wanted
could
to,
ride he could ride anything fast.
I
Let's be
wanted,
honest.
well, I wanted to touch on a few things that I think, was so funny, with you and Chris. I mean, looking back, looking back now, after all the years of running a race team. I've realized now it's super important to have athletes that, well, it's not super important, but it's easier when people are similar and they've got the same interests. And like you said, you couldn't have had anybody, you couldn't have had more black and white than you and Chris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even to clothing. I remember a funny thing when we were in Mont Saint Anne one year, and you wanted to go into Quebec to get a haircut, and I think I don't know if you remember this, and so we all jumped in the van and went for a day trip to Quebec. You went into the hairdressers and came out, and Chris was like, "Oh, you were getting your haircut, mate," and he was like, "I've had 2.5 centimeters." And Chris is just completely doesn't understand what's going on. And then
uh,
you went, "I'm just gonna go in this shop," and you came out with a pair of white jeans.
yeah, oh, yeah. This I remember.
And
Why white jeans? Yeah.
Chris, I've never seen anyone as confused. If you remember,
Yeah, now I remember. Now that you say that, yeah, I remember.
because
Uh,
every piece of his clothing was black, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true.
So funny, so funny. But like you said, and then I think the one thing that I remember. Do you remember our first team camp in California?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think we went and rode at Idlewild.
It was the first time also I rode on a pump track, I remember.
The one that Chris built.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I remember we went to Idlewild and it was obviously, rocky and loose, sandy dirt, what Chris
Yeah,
was good at riding on. And that day, Chris blew everybody's minds at what he was doing on the downhill bike. Do you remember?
Just Chris, if I have one word, is talent. I mean, this guy, most talented guy on a bicycle I've ever seen. A beautiful person as well.
Yeah.
I mean, being French, we before I really met him in the team, I was always a bit scared of Chris. You know, he's really impressive. You know, he's a big character.
Yeah.
But humanly, that year, he blew my mind, and he blew my mind on the bike and off the bike as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, frustrating for me as a team manager and just somebody that wanted you guys to win, you know, whether it was you, whether it was Chris, whether it was, you know, whoever. Just frustrating, like the amount of training that you put in. If Chris would have put 50% of that effort in with the talent and the natural strength.
No, it would be unbeatable. He would win every race.
Yeah, you know, and you know, again, if if we'd have had, you know, a bit more, I guess, experience between us all, you know, you and Chris working together could have been, you know, an amazing duo. You know, I guess a bit like, you know, Loic and Finn now,
For
or
sure, yeah. Spend more time together would have paid for sure.
yeah. But you know, still, you know, we had some amazing times, and both you guys did some incredible results. You know, some of the best results that we ever had on the race team over the whole 16 years I did it. You know, it was an incredible time. And you know, after those early, you know, good results and really, you know, still two top tens in the World Cup overall is phenomenal with all the, you know, the things that happened as well. And then I just remember you just kept getting lots of little niggling injuries and little things that were just
Yes. So sometimes it's not the big injuries that are the worst. So in this tree accident in Andorra, I unfortunately I damaged the nerve.
Yeah.
And the nerve takes a lot of time to regrow, and it fucked nearly a year of my career. I was always fighting to find this sensitivity back, and was really difficult and was never the same anymore. Managed to do seventh in Fort William after that, which I was really proud of, and was a good performance because the track is really long and rough.
Yes.
But then it's always this mix of, like we said, aggressivity was always difficult to find. You always want to do more, but sometimes the more you do, the less you go fast.
Yeah, I mean that every time we went testing or, you know, to a team camp or at the races, you always put in 100% effort, you know, like incredible. And you had
I mean, it's difficult. Huh? It's difficult to find the balance. The balance is I mean, if you are Loic and you are so strong that you can hold back, or if you need to go to this 100%, then it's really easy to do mistakes. And when the times are so close, you cannot make mistakes, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think yeah, you know, you did the team proud and you did us all proud, and you got some awesome results. But I you know, without some of the things that happened to you, I really think we could have achieved some incredible results, you know, for you.
For sure, 2009 could have been even better than 2008. Unfortunately, small accident like that, and it's over.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, after you rode for our team, I think you went over to ride for Sun Bikes.
Yeah, so Sun Bikes was, I would say, the last real full season of my career. So the bike was quite old, and we were supposed to get some evolution during the season.
Yeah.
In the winter, I trained with the Radical Plus was the name of the bike.
Yeah.
We had Marzocchi suspensions, which were working very well with this bike. I was super happy with it. Yeah. And also the first race was Peter Marisburg, so it's Greg Minard's track, and was fast with a lot of pedaling, some huge jumps, very, very physical.
Yeah.
And Stéphane Girard was my team manager. He was the coach of Greg Minard, so he knew that on this kind of track I could do really, really well. I prepared like Maribor 2008. I prepared perfectly. I knew that I had to do a lot of sprints, a lot of BMX, all that for preparing. And I arrived to Peter Marisburg the fittest I've ever been in my career, because I also had 2 bad seasons before. So if I wanted to prove everybody that I'm here and I'm back.
Yeah.
I remember the qualifying. I'm on this Sun bike. I do one quite big mistake at the bottom of the track, and I'm P3 at 1 second. So I was super, super happy, and I wanted to win this race because I knew that with the mistake I had done, I could do it. Yeah. That day, the final, I entered the start gate. I press on the trigger, and my derailleur is blocked.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, I could not believe it, Nigel. I was, I'm a calm person, so I knew that we had 40 seconds to solve the situation. Yeah. But the mechanic started to panic. He had tachycardia, He was at 190. Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't know what happened that day, but it never came back. I was on the highest gear, and I was blocked. And I took the start, and I could not pedal. I pedaled 10 meters. Yeah. And then maybe I must have hit something hard towards the bottom of the track, and I managed to re-engage the derailleur, but to the bottom, went to the lowest gear. So I was not at all on the good gear, and I was 20th that day. And this is the moment when I understood what am I gonna do next year? I mean, if this happens, I did so much effort for all that time to prepare that race. Yeah. I really did a lot of sacrifices for this one. Yeah, I was really gutted. Then I go home, start to practice again with the bike, and I snap the frame. Sun bicycle was not doing well at that time, and there was no chances to get a new Sun frame. Then the development of the new frame was already dead, so they gave us some transition bikes.
I remember.
And Marzocchi suspension with the Sun was working very well. Yeah. But with the transition, I was afraid to die anytime, I cannot really explain you why, but it was not working at all. And I had a huge crash in Leogang. I went over the bar on some kind of ski jumps. Yeah. Because after 30, 40 seconds of the run, the shock was overheating, and the rebound was a catapult, Yeah. So I finished the year like that, doing some top 15, top 20, 12. Yeah. But it was the maximum I could do. Yeah. And then I started to think of the future, and I said, okay, next year I do just a few World Cups for fun. Start taking over the family business, and we will see. In 2012, I did Peter Marisburg. Yeah. I could not train as much as I could, but I finished P10. No, P9 even. P9, I think. P9, yeah. So with just 1.5 months of training, I was P9. I was very happy, and then progressively I stopped. Yeah.
And what obviously that year you rode on that team, you were teammates with Sam Dale.
Yeah.
Because I did a podcast with Sam a few months ago, and he talked very highly of you and explained that you were one of the best teammates he ever had, and learned a lot from you.
Sam had a bit of a Chris Kovarek also, now I
Yes,
think.
he
The,
does.
the shape, I
Yeah,
mean, flat pedals,
yeah,
very aggressive. Sam was very aggressive,
yeah.
big guy.
Sound like Chris.
Yeah, yeah. No, we had really good time with Sam, but we were struggling a lot. We were struggling a lot with the bike. Unfortunately, I mean, there was not much we could do that year. I think for him was probably also difficult to ride on the Sun bike because was a small bike.
Okay. Yeah.
This bike was more, in my opinion, like a bike from the end of the 90s, the head
Okay.
angle and all that.
Yeah.
So on some track could have gone okay, like Peter Marisburg.
Yeah.
But if we were going to Val di Sole with this bike, I think we were gonna
Yeah.
snap it for sure, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, and so how old were you when you decided to call it a day?
28, 29,
Yeah.
28, yeah, young, yeah, yeah. But the
Young.
thing is, my body was also tired.
Yeah.
When I started riding mountain bikes, we had no suspensions, and I think my body got destroyed pretty early.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember going to World Championship in Val di Sole in 2005.
Mhm.
I was seventh there, or no, 2008, I think. 2008, sorry, Nigel, with a CRC.
Yeah.
I was still young there. But I was telling the physio of the national team, I have pain in my knee. What do you think it can be? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe just some small thing, some issue.
Yeah.
But then at 34 years old, my knee just blew up, the meniscus,
Oh, yeah.
and no ligaments, but meniscus. And when I did all the scans, they realized that there was nothing. The meniscus were gone,
Yeah.
so worn out. And I think I had that already from long age. Yeah, it shows you how the body also suffers.
Oh yeah, it's a brutal sport on your body for sure.
Yeah, I mean the jumps are big. Your first suspension is your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and I got really lucky with injuries. Honestly, I mean I had this stupid injury with my hand, but it's not a big injury. I mean, if you speak with Fabian or some other guys, they had some huge trauma. Me, I'm still quite lucky.
Yeah. And so and then obviously yeah, you decided to call it a day. Was that difficult for you to do? Because I know you, Julian, you're very competitive, and I believe you got some amazing results if you think about it compared to some people that are on big fat.
It's really difficult to accept, Nigel, if I'm honest. But I had so much frustration the year before. I don't want to race to be 50th or be a struggle to qualify. I never wanted that. I want to be competitive in the top 10.
Yes. Which
But to go there and just a passenger on the bike, no, I don't want that. I want to train specifically for some races.
yeah,
I want to be performant, but just to go at the World Cup, no, I have no interest. And you need to have good material, good people around you to achieve that. It's a family, it's a team. The relationship you have with your mechanic is the most important at the end of the day. He's a mechanic, he's a psychologist, he's everything.
yeah,
And I knew how I had to do
yeah,
to reach the high level,
yeah.
and I had not the keys anymore to do that. So that's
But
how I thought about it, actually.
Yeah, very, very clever decision and right in my opinion as well. Yeah.
Of
Uh,
course, when you watch the races on TV, you're like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but
Was
yeah,
there,
there was no other way to do.
and was it for a number of years? Was it difficult to kind of follow the racing and watch and see people winning that you probably thought you could beat, or
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Then you also need to find some other motivations. That's how I lived the years after. So I needed to go on the road bike. I was doing some local enduro series.
yeah, and you did quite a lot of motocross as well.
Yeah, I said okay. I start a bit racing motocross in Italy, because
Yeah,
in Italy we have some good sand tracks.
yeah,
So I started doing that a bit. You need some motivation, some goals, some adrenaline, because there's so much adrenaline in mountain bike,
yeah.
that I was always looking for something like that. But yeah, trying to get the best out of myself for everything I'm doing, basically. Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. And everything you do on two wheels, you always do well at, Julian. You're a very talented bike rider.
I am talented. Sometimes I missed some little things, to get on the first step of the podium.
Yeah,
But one thing I can be proud is that I always tried really hard,
yeah, yeah,
and I was always trying to find the little details to get to that, to achieve my goals.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what I did in mountain biking, I try to apply it all the days, every day of my life. Yeah,
yeah. Good stuff.
I think sport is the best lesson of life.
Yeah,
If I look back.
I agree. And so, if you had your time, again, to go back, would you pick mountain biking again, or would you do the road racing on the street, or would you do
So
motorbike
no,
racing?
I mean, road racing has always been my dream from when I'm born. My father was a big fan of Wayne Rainey, Kevin Schwantz, Mick Doohan. Mick Doohan actually comes to the shop, and it's a legend for me.
Yeah,
So it's always been my dream, and I realize my dream now. But honestly, it's a very unfair sport, motorsport,
because of the bike.
because you need the amount of money you need to do this kind of sport is ridiculous. And I find that mountain biking stays quite fair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still a sport where uh, almost everybody has the same opportunities.
yeah,
And for motorsport, it's not really the fact. Then I don't talk about the tires, the engines, and all that,
yeah,
because there's so much shit going around,
yeah,
some different interests from companies and that. So yeah, I mean, if now I have baby Charles, 6 months old, I don't know what he will want to do,
yeah,
but mountain bike is definitely a good sport for the kids. I mean, as a parent point of view now, it's very healthy. You're in the nature. Downhill racing is also one by one. The relationship with your opponent is completely different from when BMX racing, when you are eight on the grid, and I mean, you're fighting, and you can always get some troubles.
yeah, yeah,
There you are. It's very mental. I mean, you need to build your weekend, like we said before. It teaches a lot to the kids, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
And at the end of the race, the best wins, and you can congratulate him and have a beer.
Yeah,
It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Yeah.
yeah, it is, and it's been a great sport and industry be a part of. It's great, cool. So, what's the what's the main goals for you for next year? What are you competing in any big races on the motorbike, or are you what's the main thing for next year other
I'm
than
still so actually I'm going every month to Spain with Bradley Smith. We're going there every month to train because there are a lot of world championship riders and the level is really high. And we do some track days. It's you get a lot of riding and you progress a lot, because if I want to pass some more steps, I still need to progress, and it's the best way to progress, because you don't get so much riding when you go to competitions. One of my dreams would be to race the professional Italian championship.
Okay.
So you have Michele Piro, MotoGP rider. You've got this kind of level, and next year they've put a stock category.
Okay.
Because the difficulty also is that the categories are race, it's open, so someone can come with the World Superbike or MotoGP. So that's how I say, it's not super fair as well. I mean, the guy who has a lot of money can buy top bike and you're 2 seconds of the pace immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment I want to progress, still continue to progress, and then we will see if I do some wild cards or a complete program. Yeah.
Cool. And have you got what bike do you have currently for racing on?
So now I have a Yamaha R1. It's very, very good chassis, very easy bike to ride, and we've put a Sutter swing arm on it, so it gives a bit more grip on the edge.
Yeah.
But the bike is slow. That's the problem here. Although it seems crazy, but the engine is slow compared to the Ducatis or the Honda and the BMW. Yeah.
Okay, got you. And have you got any plans to go to any of the World Cups downhill next year to just to watch and hang out, or are you going back to Morzine in the summer?
Yeah, I think Morzine we will go definitely back, because the family loved it. It's a really nice place for all the family. And in June, Charles will be 1 year old, so we'll be able to travel a bit more. And yeah, would be good to go to watch a World Cup and see all the friends if they recognize me.
Great. Cool, man. Well, yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for your time today, and it's been absolutely lovely to catch up with you. I'm pleased to see how well you're doing, and you know that you're a dad now, and your shop's going well, and everything. It's makes me happy, mate.
Nigel, good to see you, and thanks for reminding me all these years. We had three good years together that I will never forget for my life.
Yeah, yeah, and thanks for all the effort you put in on them years. It was great. So yeah, and to Dave up there, thanks to Dave as well. We had some
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Nigel.
well, thanks so much, Julian, and yeah,
Yeah.
hope to catch up with you in the summer. That would be awesome.
Yeah, with pleasure. Ciao, ciao. Bye
Ciao,
bye.
ciao. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that podcast with Julien Camellini there. He's an amazing guy, such an amazing racer, and had a fantastic career. And it's great to see he's doing well now. So hope you all enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps us. Won't take you long to do that. Buy us a coffee. That goes towards Maya doing all the hard work behind the scenes, hours of editing, all my rubbish bits that I talk about. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. Have an amazing Christmas, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.